Hey, good morning, folks. We are back. It's a holiday here in America. It's Thanksgiving Day. I've been sick for the past few days. I've recovered enough to be able to be around people today, and we've got a little time in the morning here, so I was going to get in some artwork here before the feasting began. So give me a second here to check my signal, and then I'll post that I'm live across the webs. If you're catching this in the future after the stream is over, you can skip ahead after a minute or two and get into the mix with us. But for everyone else that is here now and new to the channel, welcome to the mix. My name is Phil Kearney. I create role-playing games. I illustrate them. I publish them online. I've been working specifically on Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition for the past 5 years. There are a slew of links in the description down below that will link you through to other works that I've already created. They all have full previews. So if you're here for artwork, there's probably about 150 different illustrations among the books that I have linked down below, plus a lot more across the web. If you're here for D&D ideas, then the stuff that I build is meant for both DMs and players. I run campaigns from level 1 to 20 in a 200-hour to 250-hour stretch. So if you're looking for content and ideas, then check out the full previews. There's a link underneath the title page of each of the individual books. If you're on a mobile phone, there'll be an eye icon on the right-hand side of the page. Click the eye or the full preview link. Either one will pop open a PDF. You can see the entire document. Check it out. If you think it's cool, consider making a purchase to help support more shenanigans. Let's see here. And on top of that, let's see, let's fix my windows here real quick. I just posted I'm live on Twitter. If you want to get notification of when I'm live in the future, you can follow me on Twitter X at Phil Kearney if you're still on the platform. Otherwise, like, subscribe, hit the bell icon to get notifications when I'm live in the future. I'm typically here 6 days a week, Monday through Saturday in the mornings, as well as Monday and Thursday nights. And then lunch times, occasionally, always on Tuesdays, sometimes Mondays, Wednesdays, or Fridays. So I'm here anywhere from 6, 7, 8, 9, anywhere from 9 to 12 times a week, building different projects. So I've still got some phlegm going, so I might cough up furball every now and again. Please forgive my grossness. But so let's see. This is the book cover that we created back around episode 40. So if you jump, where are we at right now? Hey, thanks for liking. We're at episode 262 right now. We've been at this a little bit over a year now, building this book online. You can check the Wayback Machine to, no, it was episode 15 that we started creating this book cover, and you can check out the progression of that, as well as all the other art, layouts, mechanics, and look-throughs that we've done over the course of that time. So when I say I build games, I illustrate them, and I publish them online. So we'll have an idea, like we had the idea that we could make Spelljammer ship and vehicle combat simulate normal 5e character combat very closely, and then that expanded on different rules, mechanics, and ideas about scaling size and exploration and tracking objects and stuff like that. So we built it all out. We're currently at a 55,000 word count in this book. It's 106 pages. And so you can see here, we break down, we send out, we do the rules, we play test it, it plays well, we send it, we write it out, we send it off to an editor makes the words good, gives it back to us, we drop it into a layout program. I'm using Microsoft Word, very simple. But we lay out all the text so that it fits into their own little blocks. And you can see here, like we have all these holes that pop open. We can put pictures to fill that space. So once all the text is laid out, we can then zoom into each individual spot that needs an illustration here. We can extract this page out of the Word program into Photoshop here, and then we can place illustrations on the page. So that's where we're at right now. When all these illustrations are done, we'll be able to put them all into the book. We'll seal it all into a PDF. We'll publish it online, and we'll link it down below. You guys can take a look at it. If you think it's cool, glad to have you. Thanks a lot. So let's see, where are we at? I've got about a 2-hour block as usual. I'm going to take a 2-hour block here, and then I get to get ready to go do feasting for the day. So Give me a second here. I had a furball. I had to get rid of that real quick. Let's make sure I'm still being audible now. Mic check. I had a furball. I had to get rid of. Cool. All right, back in. All right, cool. So we got our references. We got our image. Let's just keep building. So I'm pretty happy with the foreground forestry. And we got another copse of trees here. And then we have the scattered bushes back here. I took some time offline yesterday just to test my endurance. I've been sick I've been sick since Monday. It's Thursday now. So for 3 days, I've been laid out. I slept like 36 hours and 48. I slept for 36 or 48 hours on Monday and Tuesday, and then on Wednesday yesterday I slept some more, recovered some, and I feel like I'm strong enough to be online and also in public. So super. So yeah, I spent some time yesterday, did some art to see how my endurance is, and it's not high. It's, I think a 2-hour block is about the best that we have. But I was able to add in some more trees and some atmosphere. I wanted to have some atmosphere along this ring so that we could see, you know, breathing is a thing. So, but right now, what I think I want to do is let's take a look. Here's the, you have to have atmosphere on this ring world, right? Otherwise your population won't be able to breathe. So that is what we've been kind of sliding in here. So I think what I want to do actually is take this moon or this planet here, and I think I want to do some effects like this. Do some clouds. This will wear down your patience after a while, so I shan't spend the entire session doing little atmospheric cloud doodles like this, but they certainly exist. On that note, I need to pull them forward so they're over the terrain. I can take deep breaths, that's good. I get really dehydrated when I'm sick because I sleep so much, and my nose leaks so much. It eats up all the moisture in my body. So I get these massive headaches the second day into sickness, and I can never keep up. It's my biggest risk when I get sick is severe dehydration. I've actually gone to the hospital as a result of having the flu, not because the flu was killing me, but because I got so dehydrated and I didn't take care of myself that I couldn't stand up anymore, and I became delusional. It's been a while since I've done that, but I've learned my body a little bit better since then, so I can sense it coming on and make sure that I force liquids down my gullet. Oh, I love this. This is so much fun. I'm gonna futz around with these clouds for a bit, and then we're gonna work on this front here. What I think we're gonna end up doing is we're gonna build this this lodge, and then we're gonna have a Spelljammer ship parked here. But I'm not gonna put in the Spelljammer ship until we finish. This is obviously where the most detail is gonna be at, but then I'll be able to push back in the page less and less detail to flesh out the environment. And once we have the environment fleshed out, I'll be able to drop in a Spelljammer ship here as parked, as it were. So you can check out the past few sessions us talking about this ring world, the reason why people would come and inhabit this area, the kind of things that are hidden inside this planet. It's just a narrative. It's just rhymes without reasons. We were just creating a story here online about what sort of resources are within this gas planet that would make it valuable for people to take ships into the atmosphere to mine resources from its atmosphere. Super fun stuff. Super fun. Oh, this isn't going to take long at all. This is clouds after all. Let's finish these out real quick. But it's a ring world. It has planar gravity, so there's objects on each side of the ring. The planets have spherical gravity, while the rings only have planar gravity. And if you know Spelljammer already, then super. You understand what planar versus spherical gravity is. But we have this book's all about commentary, right? It's all about explaining things. It's all about providing ideas for DMs to have the tools that they need. One of the guiding themes of this book is to provide rules so that DMs can create rulings and be consistent with them. That's what rules in D&D are about. It's about creating baseline physics for how your fantasy world works, so that when the players end up doing shenanigans you can't anticipate, you have the tools that you need to be able to make good judgments. That's why the older editions of Dungeons and Dragons were so good. Because here, I'll go ahead and zoom in on this for you. You can take a snapshot if you want, and take a look at this. There's a block of text for you about spherical gravity, and then you can shift over here. We have commentary about how long does it take, depending on the major helm versus minor helm. They're the two gears of spelljamming helms. Major helms are 5,000 gold. Minor helms are only 500 gold. Major helms go fast enough to be able to fly between planets and worlds. Minor helms, at best, can get to your moon and back on your own world, but they don't have enough movement speed to be able to cross from world to world without piggybacking on a carrier ship. So minor helms are mostly for landing craft and fighter ships to engage with ships between ships in combat. So departing a spherical gravity, this is just defining how that works. You can look at this, and then here we have gravity fields with an example of it that you can pause the video and take a look at what we have going on here. This should be plenty of time for you to have paused and reflected on that if you so chose. And I'll just keep going now. So now that if you paused, you have a decent understanding of what spherical versus planar gravity is, then you can have these ring worlds, or basically anything that's less than any objects that are less than 10 miles in diameter will provide planar gravity. I mean, there's exceptions to those rules, of course. You can always have things that are smaller than 10 miles have spherical gravity if you as a DM choose. But we're just providing a baseline here for just fundamental physics that a DM is then free to break as the campaign demands, right? You establish rules that the DM can then lean into or break from specifically, but the rules still exist to provide that consistency in understanding how the physics work in general, so the DM knows specifically when they are breaking the rules and why. They can create the reason why for themselves, or know that they're operating within rules as intended that we're creating here. So again, just having a basic set of rules that a DM can bounce off of is a large portion of what like the DMG, the Player's Handbook, and stuff like that is. Gary Gygax would say back in the first edition AD&D, the very first Dungeon Master's Guide was, everything in here is a suggestion for you to be able to build your game around. And the books that I create are in that same vein, that we're providing rules to things that don't exist already that you can use to riff off of and create your own rules out of, using these as a guideline for you to be able to build on top of. Like if you are a Lancer enthusiast or a Starfinder enthusiast, or any of the other vehicle space combat games that have come out since Spelljammer was published in August last year, you can use the physics and the movement and scaling concepts that are inside of this book and modify them to whatever D20 game it is that you're playing, or furthermore to extract out to, like, say, Cypher System, for instance, because the scaling mechanics The scaling mechanics are universal. It's just dealing in size and scale and movement and positioning involved with it. That every system has movement, every system has scale, every system has action economy. You can combine action economy with scale and distance to create meaningful ship combat, which is the major objective of this book. So whether you buy it or not, I mean, obviously I'd love for you to do so, but if you just skim it and extract some cool ideas from it to use in your own campaign, then God bless you. Just drop a note, let me know what you're using it for and that you think is cool, if you do, once it's published. Let's do that again. Let's chop that up a little bit. That's cool. Neat. Neat little atmosphere, and there's not much more to this curve over here. Let's fill that out. Yeah, I was planning on doing... life is funny, man. I had intentions of doing a lot of streaming yesterday and on Tuesday, and instead I got to sleep. So the muse knows best. She knows what I need. And so she knocked me down for a few days, made me sit and wait to get through whatever punishment it is that my body needed to endure to upgrade to the next level. I'm looking forward to a holiday and spending time with friends and family. And I don't work tomorrow. Currently, the intention is to be back on tomorrow morning, just like this, to continue working on it. I won't have a 2-hour window before I have to start my day. I think I'm going to have a long stream of 3 hours tomorrow, and then so we'll do Spelljammer for, assuming everything goes as planned. Assuming everything goes as planned. 3 hours tomorrow morning, doing more of Spelljammer Art. And then we'll have a 2-hour block of martial powers around lunchtime. And then, hey, 20-minute timer. And then we'll be back in the afternoon to work on Eberron creature tokens, which I'm really looking forward to. I shan't be on. I'm normally doing Eberron art on Thursday nights, but I'm going to be feasting this evening, watching some Seahawks on the TV, watching some sports ball. Mostly just making fun of people. But I don't really watch sports because I'm not really a big sports ball enthusiast. But I love making fun of commercials like Mystery Science Theater 3000. Sports games is fun like that, especially when your coworker, when your family and your friends and coworkers, whoever it is that you're hanging out with, likes your humor. Just riffing on stuff is a lot of fun. It makes the moments between football action a lot more fun. Just making fun of shit. It's one of my favorite pastimes with sports events. So we'll see if I have the opportunity to grab a good chair and just make fun of people for a few hours. They get paid lots of money. They can afford it. So we're working our way through these clouds, and then we'll get this first layer down, and then we'll start building the lodge. Nice. God, I love doing clouds. This stuff is so much fun. As you can see, I'm using this brush here. I've talked about this brush before. Here, I'll demonstrate it for you. It's called our Cloud Chalk. It's a modified chalk brush. You can see it's got all these little line breaks here and here and here. These little slashes that are through it. These create gaps, and there's, as you can see, there's different levels of opacity inside this brush. And when you use a brush, you grab and you pull, and all these different pieces grab and pull at different. The opacity controls how much of a grip the brush has on the pixels. So when I pull on it, it pulls basically a cloud of pixels along with it and drags it with it. Based on the strength of the brush, depends on how much of the pixels get pulled. See, I can pull a line like that, and you can start seeing a pattern replicating from it. But if I pull slowly, it just kind of fades out into a sort of. And then if I jiggle it a little bit, it starts to create this tufting effect. You can see, you can have this like mild patterning that can then be distorted into different things. And this is how this is a very Bob Ross-ish method of creating clouds. And of course, all my environments and skies and stuff are all inspired by Bob Ross, because I've been watching Bob Ross since I was 5. And figured out how to reproduce his work in Photoshop maybe about 4 some odd years ago. And we've been using those techniques ever since. I did about 120 different Bob Ross paintings that you can find on my DeviantArt channel. If you just go to DeviantArt and type in Phil Kearney, you'll find me. I don't really do anything with DeviantArt anymore, and I should probably get a real website up and shut down my DeviantArt, because I don't do anything with it. But you can create neat little cloud effects very easily just by grabbing and jiggling. And then if I back down the opacity to like the 20%, you see it grabs much less, but now it becomes more tuft-like. So you can create a neat little clouds effect like that with very little effort by just dumping in some pixels and then letting them fan out. So we're going to go back to our round brush to add in little spot effects here, and then we're going to take that back up to 60 and then smudge it out. This is actually similar to the rocks that when we initially built this, we built all these boulders. This is actually very similar to the bouldering process that we had gone through to create the ground. And then we just had tons, because none of the rocks can be more than 10 miles in diameter. Otherwise, they'll have their own gravity, their own spherical gravity, and they'll break the circle, right? So everything that's in this ring here cannot be larger than 10 miles in diameter, which allows for a lot of rock, and you can easily fit an entire city on a 10-mile rock, right? So this is only a small snippet of what we can possibly be. I'm gonna actually erase that down a little bit. There. Smudge that in a little. And once we finish going across the top here, I'm going to just pull at these, just to pull them into the diameter of the piece, keep that wheel effect going, and level off the clouds so they don't poke up too much as they fade into this higher atmosphere where the clouds bleed off. And once we finish our ring run here, we'll get into the lodge. So it'll just be a few more minutes of us building up these clouds, and then we'll move into architecture. Yeah, the Spelljammer's Adventures in Space, they don't provide any mechanics about building worlds or wild space systems. They literally say, look at the Lattice Araxis adventure for an example of how a system might look. Or Doom Space. Or the Doom Space and Zaraxis Space are the only two systems that are depicted in the SAIS and the Lattice Araxis adventure, and that is a complaint that has been lodged by the community as a whole, that there's just not enough. There's not enough chunk to it, and so you could go grab. They could have said go grab the second edition box set that came out in what, '89, I think, and that'll provide you with all that you need. But they don't self-reference their previous editions, even though they sell and make profit from them. They don't reference them for some reason. But the second edition has a perfectly functioning system generator and how to categorize planets and size of planets and stuff like that. We don't replicate that. We simplify the process here. Much of 5e is about simplifying the mechanics of D&D in general and expanding on them in different types of directions using the codified mechanics that 5e introduces, which I am a big fan of. And so I didn't want to just replicate what already exists in the second edition box set. Instead, I broke down the physics of like how fast the planets move around the sun, how fast the moons move around a planet, built out a gridding system so that you can create your own Wildjammers, your own wild space systems, like in Roll20 or any other set. Some of the tools that we're going to provide with this supplement, if you decide to purchase it, include transparent, like these orbiting rings, concentric circles. That here, hold on. I'll just peel this open since nobody asked. As a quick tangent here. Open up the rest of our document. I need a shower. Oy vey. While that opens, I'm going to take a sip of coffee. Soothes the throat. Chase it with some water to keep myself from dehydrating anymore. Let's see. There we go. Yeah. So here we're looking at mapping between worlds. So when we provide when we publish this, we'll have I use Roll20, and Roll20 comes with a square grid. It also does hexes, but I think square grids work better in general because the system that we have of combat uses a square grid, and that combat scales out to almost infinite size. So using squares, we can pan in and out from 5 feet to 5 billion feet, or 5 billion miles, up to you. So, but when we create this, we'll have templates. Like this will be a 3x3 inch template here with this circle in it that it's transparent. So this is so you can drop this image on top of this image, on top of this image, on top of this image. When you stack them in layers like that, if I were to click out, like out here, if I click out in this outer rim here, I would be able to move that circle around without moving any other circles around. So I can just stack on a bunch of circles and then just put in a bunch of dots inside of each of these squares. You see how we're centering these circles, each of these labels inside of their individual squares. That's a way that you can properly place planets on your system map inside your virtual tabletop, or on your tabletop. You could, drawing circles is difficult, but God bless if you can. Worth noting, we're showing moons here, planet speeds, planetary objects, planets rotating around a central star, and how fast, like if it takes a year to go around the star. So each of these squares is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 months. A full year rotation. So this planet A is rotating around it, and you can see here, I'll zoom in for you here. So you can see the planetary speed. So these planets move basically 400 miles per round to be able to make an orbit like this, which is faster than a minor helm can move at most 100 miles per round. So it can't outpace it. Minor helms can't fly fast enough to be able to keep up with planets. So you have to have a major helm to fly between planets. But moons move much slower. They only move 183 or 4 squares at the 50 miles. The moon takes about 30 days to orbit Terrell. So you can see here, each of these is a day of travel, and it's 50,000 miles. At the 50,000 miles, so these are only moving 50,000 miles per day. It's easy for a minor helm to be able to keep track. Like if this is the planet and this is the moon, that's 50, 100, 150, 200,000 miles, and it only takes 200,000 miles, and you can move 1 million miles per day. Let's do some quick math here. So our maximum speed in a minor helm is 1 million miles per day, and it's 200,000 miles away. Break it down by 5, 24, divide by 5. So it takes about 5 hours for you to get from your planet to the moon when you're using a minor helm. And of course, this is something you can screen grab and take a look at yourself. Reducing scale during exploration. Here we're talking about changing the scale of the map to meet whatever it is that you need. Here we're working on 50 million miles square blocks. You can do 2 squares a day using a major helm. So like to get from D to E, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's 5 or 1, 2, 3, 4 squares away. So it'd take you 1 day, 2 days to get from Terrell to Carpuri from this position. And as you go through your days, you can continue to rotate these planets around at whatever pace it is that you would have them set at. Like this would be, if let's see, Terrell is D. So we're looking at, what is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. It's about 30 squares to go around the sun at this scale. So if we were to take 365 and divide it by 30, so roughly every 10, 12 days, we would move this planet 1 square, and we will move this planet 1 square. So this moves to here, and this is here. It's still 1, 2, 3, 4 away. Eventually, D will pull ahead here while E is still back here, and the length will grow. But if it's every 10, say, let's just break it off to every 10 days. 1, 2, 3, 4, that's 40 days. If your campaign lasts 40 days, this planet will have moved 4 squares. B, which is Anadia, will also have moved 4 squares. So 1, 2, 3, 4. It only, in 10-day blocks, it takes 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, it takes 80 days for Anadia to go around the sun using this scale. So while you're moving from here to here, Anadia's moved to here. So it actually takes, you'd be only 1, 2, 3 squares away. So you can use that pacing in your own. Again, we can take these concentric circles, and then you can drop in the planets, and you can just keep moving the circles, the planets around the circle at your own pace as you need. No, we don't need to say that. So having those basic physics there goes a long way to, come on, baby, wake up. My CPU is choking on. I'm going to close this. God, look at that. My mouse is just absolutely. I've got 32 RAM and an i9 Pentium, and it makes my computer choke. There we go. Let's close that out so we have less grind. I'll probably need to open it up again before the session's over just to show you stuff, but hopefully we won't need to. Close that. Close that. Cool. There we go. There. All right, back at it. But yeah, by providing just concentric circles on a grid and providing some basic timelines for how long it takes to move from square to square for planets and for moons, that allows DMs to create their own wild space systems and understand how their planets would be moving in orbit around them. So it helps. It's great that the wild space orrery that Wizards introduced in 5e is literally providing the system map for in-game. It becomes an in-game artifact that is both on the game table for the players to see, but also for the characters to see. So they're actually interacting with the same object the players are. So you're kind of breaking the fourth wall in that means, which I absolutely love. I think that's absolutely great. There we go. And then we'll just put in some more cloudage down here. So when we come back tomorrow, we'll continue working on this piece, but I think I might have some time this evening for me to work on stuff as well, and I might do some more atmospheric layering that I don't want to waste anyone else's time on here on stream. Sometimes the stuff that we do is interesting. Sometimes the stuff that we do is pretty boring. It's just laborious task management that we're pushing pixels like a drone. That I can honestly see automation making a lot easier in my life. So I respect that, like AI, I could say, hey, duplicate the cloud effects if we get to that point sometime in the future. But I like handcrafting everything personally. Let's fade that all in. I'll probably mess around with this ring here to flesh that out a little bit. But I'm going to mess around with that off stage in my own time. So let's get on into our lodge. So let's see. Buildings. Left front. Here's those individual rocks that we were painting similar to the clouds here. Oops. I should smooth these out in case I move the cloud. In case I feel like I need to move the tree line. For composition's sake. So let's smooth these out and blend them in real quick. Thank you, Timely Timer. What are we at? 40 minutes now? Not bad. It's an hour. So we got an hour left. We'll fuck around with the lodge. Good. So I can do another, I won't do it now, but we can do another layer and we can use the lighting here, which is white, an off-white, just a little bit of a purplish to it, I guess, a tiny twinge of purpley. We can use that for highlights here. And again, we can come in here with the planet and use that as highlights here. So we can have two different highlights that are bouncing light off of the outer shell of this atmosphere that's ringing the planet. And then we have the larger atmosphere. Here. Blend all that in. There we go. This is a second layer that is blending into the first layer that we created. as we make the curve around. As we curve around like this. Yeah, as we curve. Yeah, as we curve around the planet like that, the atmosphere rises over the terrain. Obviously, it encapsulates the trees and stuff. So we have to have the atmosphere rise as the picture brings the terrain closer to us. We have to increase the size of the atmosphere that encapsulates it, or that envelops it. That's the proper word, envelope. Perfect. Now we can start peeling this apart. Now, this atmosphere effect also helps make these trees stand out a lot from the darkness that was around. Like when we first rendered these trees, this is how it looked, and those trees are not standing out at all. Like this is really poor composition. But when we add in this atmospheric effect, it makes those trees jump out. So it's just a matter of how are you balancing your picture of light, dark, light, dark, light, dark, light, dark, light, dark. Again, we do that layering effect. All right. Now let's see. We are inside of our left front, tree foreground, front lodge. There it is. Our front lodge. Front deck. Perfect. Absolutely perfect. Okay, cool. So this is our lodge. And this is the initial skeleton of the building that we created with a person included for scale. And then we painted over the rough roof and wall placement. And then we added the front face. And then we added stairs, so it's still super sloppy. Excuse me for a second. Okay, furball. Had to hack up a furball. Let me make sure I'm visible again, or audible again. Furball. Had to hack up a furball. Okay, there we go. Cool. Let's go back up to our references. Bloop. I'm gonna hit save real quick just to make sure we're all good. These are tree colors. These are bush colors that we were using here to add in all this foliage. Here's the buildings that we were referencing during our creation process for this lodge. Let's see. We got a light red, and we have more of a dark greenish. I'm pretty happy with those. Yeah, let's duplicate this group, and let's merge that group. We'll hide the first group. This is something now that we can, let's Let's use just a round eraser. Don't think I need a smudge brush for now. Yeah, I do, actually. So let's go find our wedge. I think our wedge smudge is going to work better here. There we go. Now we're just doing some basic architecture. Bam, 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 bam. There's a lot of drama going on in this music. I like him, but I like Epidemic. Epidemic streaming service is really, really nice. I like almost like there's a shitload of really, really good music. Most of it's all like, you know, 2 or 3 minutes. Straighten out those edges a little bit. I can see myself leaning in. When I lean in, it means I need to zoom in. I don't need to zoom with my face. I need to zoom with the screen. I spent most of my life having to zoom in with my face, and I'm still in bad habits from decades of being limited. I'm mostly blind, so I've got 2200 vision because I have retina damage, and it's actually a birth defect, but I call it retina damage because it's more fun. Deuce? There we go. Straight edged. Architecture like this is not my strong suit. I feel like I want to peel off the front. Just peel off the entire front end of this. That. Just going to start with a simple box. And then we're just gonna layer in detail. I keep leaning my face in. We're starting off with a very basic shape, and then we're just gonna add more and more complexity to the shape. Just like those old how to draw books. It starts off with a circle, and you end up with like an articulated bear. You know, like how did you? then you hit the detail button. Those books were always so frustrating. Like they'd start start with a circle, add another circle, and then here's a circle, and then you blend it all together, and you end up with a bear or something. It's like there's a lot of steps you're skipping here, buddy. Yeah, we can just paint over that. It's probably the easiest way to resolve this thing. Nothing can be sacred. Perfect. Good. That looks good. I'm happy with that. Very simple box. So we've achieved our primary goal of having clean architecture. That looks pretty clean. This is a vaulted ceiling. Well, this is normal height ceiling, and then we have a third floor. This is like a 4-story building. That feels about right. No, 3 stories. Yeah. Let's see. Copy, paste. down, trim that off a touch, tip to tip, tip to tip. Perfect. And by perfect, I mean good enough. Good enough is perfect. Thin it down back here. There we go. Good. Florin. That. Bad. That lines up really, really nicely. Nice job, Kearney. Nice job. Very, very good. So we can take this, we can merge that down, we can duplicate this. Let's go with distort. All right, there's another timer. I'm going to take a sip of coffee here. Got 40 minutes left today. Very nice. Pausing and reflecting. I'm going to need to put some shadow underneath here, which I can easily do once we finish the lodge. Okay. Taking a few moments here to evaluate where I'm at before I move on. Major block, front frame for the porch. Good, good, good. Coffee machine is happily chortling in the background, enjoying its day. I love you, Mr. Coffee. Good. This little wedge brush has this little point on it. It's not like the cloud smudge brush. It's a little bit more precise in being able to dig into these corners here. Be able to crisp up those edges a little bit. There. Nice and crisp. Let's be bold and merge these down. That's what my gut's telling me to do. Keep leaning in. I need to pull the monitor in so I can keep my head back. I can tell him, well, I'm still recovering. I'm fatigued. I think it's fair. Good. Good. There we go. Good. More space. There we go. That. There. The art of foreshortening. No. Whew, my side is spasming, releasing some sort of stress. That's good. Okay, that feels pretty good. Let's think about. Free transform, skew just a touch, change that angle. Perfect. Here's your random person. You can fit through the door. A little bit smaller. Merge that back down until we need him again. Nah. Okay, let's see. Next thing we want to do is the railing. So let's start creating railing. Ah, so soon. Bigger as we come over here. That's about the right height for a rail. Easy peasy. Now we can no. Got to get those right. So far, we're scaling pretty good. Yeah, better leave that be. Something like that. There we go. Okay. Let's see. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Good enough. 7 to 8. We'll take it. Thinning the top of the railing just a touch. There we go. Good. And get rid of that. We'll keep it there, but it doesn't actually exist, you know. There's that. Perfect. Very nice. What we do need to do, I believe, porch. That feels pretty good. Can merge you down over here to get you out of the way. Get you out of the way. Get you out of the way. And then we can go into here, and I want to thin up this bottom rail. Create some separation for the railing from the base. I don't need thick planks like that down on the ground. Just place all that like this. Yeah, I've got an issue with the YouTube algorithms because I act like a painter, but it's really designed for DMs and mostly DMs actually. I think most of my content is basically creator facing. I mean, that was the point of the stream, was to demonstrate all the steps that are necessary to produce PDFs. Game supplements, whether it's D&D or any other system. The process is basically the same, and I don't think there's a lot of information about like what does it take to build a supplement, you know, which is one of the major intentions I have for the stream, is to demonstrate building a supplement. This is off. I need to fix this. Timely timer. All right, we're on our last 20-minute stretch for the day. Let's just undo all that chaos. There we go. Good. I'm happy with that. See, that looks really clean at the resolution that you're actually going to look at it. Like, here's the size of the text. You're probably not, I mean, you can zoom in. It's going to be a PDF, so you can zoom in incredibly deep into it, and which I want you to be able to do, which is why I'm taking so much time to add this level of detail depth. But at the size that you're probably going to actually be looking at here, looks pretty good. I'm happy with it. Let's just keep on. Let's just keep building. There you are. Let's close up that porch again. We can actually... Oh, damn it. I should not have deleted that. I knew I needed it again. Duplicate the fact. And then let's skew. Let's merge this group. We can reconstruct it, not a big problem. Seeing this little artifact over here, I'm thinking that's a flaw that I need to delete, but there it is. There. Very good, very good, very good. Very, 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 very good. The complexity of this, this is the closest building that we have in the illustration, so this kind of sets the tempo of how much detail is going to be in the piece altogether. So once we get this detailed out, then we can have less and less. I mean, obviously, this is still a lot of slop, but we'll be able to do similar cleanup, but there's a lot less detail we're going to be able to have in all of these other structures throughout the piece. So this is setting the expectation of what's assumed to be in the smaller structures that are further back in perspective. So you always you set the pace of the piece by the least amount of detail in the background and the most amount of detail in the foreground. And there needs to be enough separation between the two levels of detail that you can have at least like one or two mid steps between, so you can have like a lesser degree of detail before you get to the minimal detail. We'll look at that as we move into these pieces. And then like these are going to be minimal detail, just shapes only, right? But around here and here, we'll be able to have this mid-level detail that we establish between this and those. So we'll probably start here, and then we'll probably jump to the background here for absolute minimalism, and then we'll figure out a step in between here, like maybe there'll be a second step and then a third step, and this would be the fourth step. So 1, 2, 3, and then 4. So those are our 4 stages. Yeah, maybe even 5. 1, 2, no, yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're doing these bands like here and here and here. These are basically our 4 bands of perspective that we're working on. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we'll be able to layer in the effects that way. Once we get, like, these will barely be, like, they're barely shapes as it is. So should be able to sequence in well. Just doing the extra work up front to layer this in, and then we'll work on this rocky bluff here. This is all carving in together very nicely. I'm really happy with how we're coming along so far. But we're down to our last 15 minutes for the day. For ball. There we go. Oh, my belly hungry. When I get sick, I don't eat. I haven't eaten in 2 days. So, perfect timing for a Thanksgiving feast to have an ultra empty stomach. And for those that are playing along with me on the intermittent fasting, I am down to 217 pounds now. I was actually down to 216 yesterday, but I was also severely dehydrated. So after putting fluids back into my body yesterday, I am back up to 217. So we're right in curve with where I expected to be. At the beginning of September, I was 245. So October and November, almost at the end of November here, I've lost 30 pounds. So it's been about 15 pounds per month, or basically a half a pound a day is about what I expect to lose when I only have between 600 and 1,000 calories consumption per day. So I'm right on curve with where I expected to be. But boy howdy, I am hungry. Top rail. Let's add in some posts here. not do that. That, yeah, that's appropriate. Good. That feels right. Very good. Very good. Very good. Better, 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 good. All right. So let's see. Now we have all that in place. We have the porch in place. We want to put, let's go with, base. Whew, man, our trash bin is all the way down there at the bottom. Pull that into our trash bin. There you go. Yeah, I think we can pull that into the trash bin as well. We'll call this stairs. There we go. All right. Good enough. Hey, it's 7:52. I think I'm going to stop there. We're looking pretty good. So when we come back, I'll be back tomorrow morning, looking at doing a 3-hour stretch in the morning, same time. We should be able to finish out the architecture here, put in the windows along the sides here, put in windows up top here, add in some basic lighting and shading effects to help ground this into the same level of lighting that we have for everywhere else. But otherwise, I'm pretty happy with this. It's a decent little structure. So then we'll build our back lot here, and then we'll build all the stuff in between. We should. Let's see. I have tomorrow off, and then I have my Saturday stream. So tomorrow we're going to do 3 hours of 3 hours of Spelljammer construction tomorrow. Then I'm going to take a break. And then I'll come back on for lunch. We'll do martial powers, maybe 2 or 3 hours of martial powers. And then I'll take a break. And then we'll come back and we'll do Eberron creature token production in the afternoon. All of that should be done by like 5, 6 o'clock. And then I'll be done for the day. And then on Saturday when we come back, we'll continue working on the Enraven's Gun, the book cover that I'm creating for Annie Healy. And then on Monday when we come back, we'll probably finish this and then move on to the next illustration. I'm hoping this will be done by Saturday. I might just finish this offline on Saturday by myself. I'm not sure exactly how we're going to move forward with it. But yeah, we're continuing to move. So yeah, I'm pretty happy so far. Let me go ahead and remove the references. Decent little piece. I'm pretty happy with this. All right, guys. And then we'll have to, yeah, we still have to do all the stars in the background and stuff, and then we'll have to do the sky fade. I want to get this matching that exactly, so I can have all the star field just spill in from off the page into the skyscape that we're building here. That should be easy enough for us to do over the space underlayer. But we'll get to it. So we're moving through stuff. I'm going to have an opportunity to work on this probably a little bit more tonight as well. But that's it for now. So thanks a lot for hanging out, guys. If you thought this stuff was cool, like, subscribe, hit the bell icon. You can follow me on Twitter at Phil Kearney if you wish. But I am out for the day. I hope if you're here in America and you have family and friends that you're celebrating Thanksgiving with, I hope you guys have a fantastic time. And I look forward to catching up with you tomorrow morning. So thanks a lot, guys. Bye.